Welcome to Lost Girl Therapy. Today we are talking about the steps that I have taken in order to create self-love. And the steps that I have taken are uniquely my own. They will not apply to every single person, but the reason that I'm sharing them is because sometimes when we do a self-love discovery or we're trying to get back in touch with ourselves, it is helpful to have resources to just understand the journeys that others have taken so we can take bits and pieces if we want and apply them to ourselves. And on the journey to self-love, where I started was getting back in touch with my soul. You guys have heard me talk countless times about the soul journey. And I conceptualize the soul being the spot behind the belly button. And what I literally did as the first step of trying to get back home to myself, I started tuning into my own intuition. And it happened kind of quietly and really naturally. It was that space where I actually started listening to when my body told me that something wasn't right. When I would make a decision, I could feel kind of that weak little gut punch behind my belly button, and oftentimes I would ignore it. So I had to start listening to that. And the more I tuned into it, the more I paid attention to when my body said, nope, this is not a decision we want to make, or yeah, this actually feels really good, I basically started building a sense of confidence. And it's this new sense of confidence that I didn't have before. And it's simply because I learned how to start trusting me. So on the journey to self-love, that was step one. It was this step of redefining what it meant to trust myself as opposed to listening to everyone else. Then I kind of, in step two, took it up to a different level where I allowed myself to tune into the full expansion of my body's physical signals. So this means expanding past the part where your soul resides and really paying attention to your body's cues when it feels anxious or when it feels sad. And the easiest spot for me to do that was in my heart chakra. So this is the space where you can really attune into how feelings come up, how your body is processing things. Oftentimes when I feel hurt or I feel upset, I can actually feel this sense of basically a depth within me, as though someone did this. If I feel really happy and excited, I can feel my chest kind of expand. And the more I listened to those signals, I became a lot more decisive, especially when it came to speaking up for myself or learning how to communicate in a manner that allowed these signals to resolve themselves in a way that made me feel peaceful. And this is really important because in step two of learning how to listen to myself and learning how to love myself, I had spent so many years ignoring these signals. And what that would look like is I would not process any feelings or emotions. And I would then have to wait until the extreme where I would become so upset that I would just cry and I wouldn't have the words for it. Or I would be having a lot of tension in my body and I just wouldn't know why. And when I started feeling things here physically, I was actually better equipped to process emotions in the moment as opposed to needing to stockpile them. And yes, in correlation with this, there are times where you have to go back and you have to process previous scenarios. But you reach a certain point in the journey where you can say, I don't need to go back to the past. I don't need to revisit all of these past things simply because I've already processed them. So your body sensations along with your soul reach a point where you're basically saying my only job is to process what's happening in front of me right now.